on the
available
counter
by
over there.
the circulation desk.
So if you don't have one, please get one from the counter. Welcome everyone to the Board of Education meeting. Mrs. Slunt, roll call please.
Dr. Cordolino?
Here.
Mr. Daughtry?
Here.
Mrs. Fano?
Here.
Dr. Modrak?
Here.
Mr. O'Brien?
Here.
Mr. Rappaport?
Here.
Ms. Zuckerman?
Here.
Mr. Palma?
Here.
Mr. Grau?
Here.
Mr. Arena?
Here.
Mr. Aristante?
Here. Pledge of allegiance, please. We have our two high school representatives. I don't know who would like to go first. Philippe or Daniel, you guys can flip a coin and do whatever you have to.
Yeah, so I'll start by giving the sports update. So the football team is rolling with a 3-1 record, even after a close loss to Chatham this past Saturday. The blackout game 2 Fridays ago was a huge success, with the student section being filled and great performances from the cheerleading squad, the band, and the team as they won 24-16. And their next matchup will be this Friday at 7 at home versus Paramus in a whiteout team. The boys soccer team continued their early success as they took down Morris Knowles this past week with a score of 5-1. The boys were slated to play Del Barton in a heated rivalry game at home last Thursday, but due to the storm, the game had to be postponed to a later date. But they'll continue their winning ways against Randolph this Wednesday at home. The girls soccer team was looking for a spark to get them going after a tough start to the season. And they got one with a wild 3-2 double overtime win this past week versus Pope John. Bella Ridachowski netted the game winner after 2 goals in regulation from Alex Quinn. And the girls will travel to Mount Olive this Wednesday. Captains Caitlin Rossnow and Nishani Patel led the charge for the girls tennis team this past Friday as they took down Sparta 4-1. And the tennis team will travel next to Morris Knowles on Wednesday for a 4 p.m. match. The field hockey team stayed hot this past Friday as they took down Par Hills 3-2 in overtime. The squad also had a great turnout for their senior night last week, and we wish all the seniors the best of luck the rest of the way. They will play Sparta at home on Wednesday. The volleyball team improved their record to 4-3 this past Friday with a 2-1 win against Morris Hills. And after a 1-2 start, the girls have found a little fire and will look to continue their success on Wednesday at Randolph. And finally, the cross-country team has had some great races to start the season with captains Danny Golgorski and Edith Teraponte leading the way, and freshman Alex Pilau stepping up in a big way. And the girls also had a big win in their batch meet on the 21st against Mount Olive and Parsippany Hills. And the team actually celebrated their senior night today at their meet at Greystone. And they will travel to Homedale on Saturday morning for their next meet. So all in all, it's been great being able to get out and support athletics again. I know having played basketball in an empty gym all of last season that fans make a big difference. So I also think the players are having a much better experience knowing that family and friends are there watching. And hopefully more and more fans will come out to support the team as the season progresses, and especially on special nights like senior night.
Thank you, Dan. Any questions of Dan? We'll have some before the year's out. All right, Blue.
To get into some school news, our Fall Spirit Week was held last week, and it was tons of fun as we watched students dressed in ridiculous outfits, from onesies to grandma nightgowns and sports jerseys to tutus. Although there were some chances of rain, our Friday pep rally had perfectly sunny weather in the 70s to host all our competitive events, and as expected, all the seniors won. The Cult Fair was also very successful, with tons of students excited to sign up and participate in our school's extracurriculars. Overall, club registrations are at an all-time high, and everyone's excited for what our school clubs have to offer this year in person. Back to school night was also last week. Last Thursday, parents and guardians had the opportunity to meet their children's teachers through virtual meets, as well as gain an understanding of the classes their children are taking. The Chinese Honor Society also offered students and faculty the chance to celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival. They held a contest on Schoology from September 20th to September 24th, in which participants were quizzed on their knowledge of the festival. The top 8 participants with the most correct answers won cultural gifts. In some future news, although the homecoming dance was not approved this year, we will proceed with homecoming court nominations to be announced this Friday night football game during halftime. Not to forget, the theme for this Friday night football game is the whiteout. Sunday, October 3rd, comes Montville Day, and after that, the first week of October is the week of respect, in which our school and schools across America will highlight the importance of a safe and respectful learning environment. And in addition, a virtual counseling event referred to as Financial Aid Night will also be held on October 7th for college applicants and their parents to get an understanding of the financial aid process.
Thank you so much. Two excellent reports. Any questions for you gentlemen? Thank you again, guys. We'll see you on October 5th, I guess. Whenever, maybe we'll see you Friday night. I'm sure I'll see you guys there. Thanks again, gentlemen. Remarks, Section F, Superintendent's Report.
Okay, just a couple of brief remarks because I know Mrs. Blunt has a presentation this evening. I did want to indicate that I know Mr. Picciuto put out a notification to the Lazar school community with regard to issues that we've been having at the school in relationship to a TikTok challenge where students have been asked to vandalize the bathrooms and to record it and post it on TikTok. As a result of that, at the moment we are restricting the number of bathrooms that are available to students. That is a very typical district response when you're experiencing vandalism of that nature. I do understand that there were some backups today in terms of lines to use the restrooms, and I know Mr. Picciuto is working on expanding the number of restrooms that are available and staff to supervise outside of the bathrooms. I do want to make it clear that there is no supervision inside the bathrooms. We do not have any video cameras in the bathroom. We do not have any staff members stationed in the bathroom. But staff are monitoring and checking in between student usage to determine if there has been any vandalism in the bathroom. So I'm hoping that students can understand the significant effects of vandalizing school property and move in a more positive direction so that we can return to normal in a relatively short amount of time. That concludes my remarks, and I will turn things back over to you.
Thank you, Renee. The next part of the agenda, we have information and the good news. And you can see there, there's a lot of good things happening in the schools. And please make sure you read this and become aware of what's happening. The next part of the agenda is the Business Administrator's Report. Mrs. Slump will be giving a presentation tonight. I know that those of you that have been around to the schools or have youngsters in the schools can see the work that is being done. We still not have finished everything, and hopefully we will before the next summer projects come along. Mr. King, can you give us a brief overview?
Thank you. Starting in 2017, the township passed a referendum to do renovations on all of the 7 schools. And that referendum included roof work at the high school, Lazar, and William Mason. It included bathroom work at all of the 7 schools, doing renovations in each one. It did media work in terms of renovations to the media centers at Lazar and the 5 elementary schools. And it did system-wide HVAC improvements. And what those entailed were tying each air conditioning and heating unit in the district into a central computerized system in order for a central monitoring location to be able to see the temperatures that are going on in each classroom, able to see the humidity in each classroom, and then the CO2 levels, carbon monoxide levels in each building. Additionally, we did work in the gyms. The Lazar locker room is there. We have renovations at the 5 elementary schools, and then the main gym at the high school. And finally, the last element was air conditioning in all of the academic spaces. And so those elements were the elements of the original 2017 referendum. And that referendum has been rolled out over the past 4 years. In 2022, we will complete the final phase, which will be phase 5 of that referendum. So that the work that's been done that's summarized in that list has actually occurred over multiple years, doing it in different phases as we went. The second item that the board became involved in was the Energy Savings Improvement Program. And that is a program that was offered by the state of New Jersey to do work that will produce energy savings within the buildings. And so that resulted in us doing a conversion of all the lighting throughout the district over to LED fixtures. It resulted in us doing efficiencies on doors and windows so we wouldn't have air leaking in and out, similar to what you would do with your home with weather stripping. It had roof replacements done at the high school, and then solar panels installed at the high school, Lazar, and 4 of the elementaries. The only elementary that did not receive solar was Hilldale, and that related to the orientation of the building in relationship to the south-facing sun, as well as the number of panels that could be put on the roof due to the nature of its roof. It wasn't cost effective. And that project is still going. Most of the panels have been installed. That picture of the green, you can see the panels sticking up on the side. That's on every single roof in each of the different locations. And the last school, which will be Cedar Hill, will get their panels on this fall. So that is another project that's been ongoing since 2018. The Board of Education in 2020 and 21 then turned to building improvements that were not part of the referendum. Most of the buildings within the district are over 50 years old, so they required repairs to infrastructure and just wear and tear that had occurred over those 50 years period. And so the board, as part of its budgeting process each year, would budget these projects into its budget that was presented at the public hearing each year, and began to work down the lists in each of the different buildings, repairing infrastructure, repairing wear and tear. So that included a roof replacement at Woodmont. It included paving work that was done at the high school, both the front and the back parking lot. The exterior metal facade of the high school was done this summer. We added additional signage in terms of the new logos that were approved about 5 years ago. We improved exterior landscaping and signage. Collectively, we also put into the budget for technology the replacement of the intercom systems, and they're expanding those systems throughout the 7 buildings, upgrading the exterior cameras and central monitoring stations at each of the 7 buildings for cameras, and then doing upgrades to security under the Alyssa's law. I know probably most of you are familiar with the pull stations that say fire when you pull them and then the fire alarm goes off. Under the Alyssa's law, there is now one of those that you pull for police, and that was installed as part of that program. As we now move from 20 and 21 into 22, which is the budget year that we're part of right now, the school year of 21-22, we now are continuing those other building improvements that are focusing on non-referendum items. And those include the replacement of the roof at Cedar Hill. It will include additional upgrades for security and signage at Lazar, improvements to landscaping, the repair and replacement of the external wall panels at the sister schools, Cedar Hill, William Mason, and Woodmont. And then we also included in the budget upgrades to the security systems for each of the 7 buildings related to the exterior doors. Collectively, this has been part of an ongoing effort by the Board of Education. They have put it in their goals every year to do improvements and repairs of the buildings. The school buildings are the community's largest asset, and so in order to maintain them, in order for us to get another 50 years out of them, they have been slowly working those improvements in. And as we move forward, as we project into the 2023 year, we will be developing more in the area of improvements at Lazar and the 5 elementary schools with input from the various principals. And all of these different projects are all encompassed in the district's long-range facility plan.
Thank you, Katina. I would like to thank the team for leading these projects. I would also like to thank Steve Toth, the facility manager, who worked closely with the architects when appropriate. A lot of money has been spent, and we have generated a lot of funds because our business administrator was smart enough to go out early in the year for bids, which means we got bids at a lower price than we would if we came out in May or June. And we were able to use that money to supplement some of these other projects from the referendum that was held in 2017. But again, congratulations, team, and let's continue with the rest of these projects, as I'm sure you will, and we look forward to the next PowerPoint presentation. Thank you so much.
Charlie, if I may.
Questions of Katina?
Yeah, thank you. Just a statement. When we went out for referendum in 2017, I think we need to remember that even though the cost of the project, the price tag of the project was $17 million, through SDA grants, we were able to receive back 40%, so the real cost to the taxpayer was about $11 million. So that was a pretty wise decision back in 2017.
Thank you, Karen. Anyone else? Okay, committee reports. Finance, Karen.
Thank you. We met right before tonight's meeting. Christine went over with the committee members various fund balances and appropriations. She also went over pretty much what we just saw, facility project update. That was about the bulk of what we talked about.
Thank you. Curriculum, Dave, I don't know if they've had a meeting since the last meeting. No. I don't think policy's ready. You're right, Christine?
No.
Communications, Michelle? No. Safety and security, Mike? No report. Delegate to the school board, Karen?
Thank you, Charlie. So on September 8th, the legislative committee met. We had an honored guest, Deborah Cornavaca, who is the Deputy Chief of Staff to the Governor. We received from Deborah a very comprehensive update of various items that are being considered in the Governor's office. And so we thank her for that. And there will be a board of directors meeting on this Friday on October 1st.
Thank you. Morris County School Board, Mr. O'Brien?
No report as of yet.
Morris County Ed Services, Mr. Rappaport? Drug awareness, Mike Palmer?
I should remain second Wednesday in October.
Thank you. Montville Athletic Coaches, Mike O'Brien?
What was the start of school and religious holidays schedule was disrupted? They did have a meeting.
When's the next one, Mike? Do you know?
It will be on schedule.
Mike, I don't know if your mic is on.
Oh. It is, okay. It will be on schedule next month, okay, on the first Wednesday.
Thank you. PTC liaison, Cedar Hill, Karen?
No report.
No report from Hilldale, Valley View, Joe?
There's a meeting on October 12th at 7 p.m.
Mason, Christine?
Thanks, Charlie. There was a meeting this Monday. Unfortunately, we had a meeting, so I couldn't attend. But the president, Mrs. Monahan, gave me a little brief report, which I thank her for. They had a great first virtual meeting. William Mason is excited to be planning events again for this school year, including an outdoor book fair, school photos at school, and the return of hot lunch. All great steps from where they were last year. They hosted an outdoor cheers and jeers breakfast for families on the second day of school due to the rain. They had a great turnout of K through first grade parents, which is always nice. They're hosting a dine out to donate at Jersey Mike's in Lincoln Park on October 19th from 5 to 9 p.m. 20% of all sales that night will be donated to William Mason. No flyer needed. Their big project for the year is working on having a custom William Mason Cougar mascot costume made. And they hope to reveal him this school year. And their next meeting is November 22nd at 7 p.m.
What was the date on that Jersey Mike's?
That will be October 19th from 5 to 9 p.m.
Thank you.
I know you like Jersey Mike's.
Woodmont Mike?
That would be tomorrow night.
Lazar Middle School? No report. High School?
The high school PTC met last night. A couple of updates. The PTC was happy to be able to provide a welcome back breakfast for the teachers and staff on the 23rd. It had different breakfast items, also some lottery tickets. We heard some teachers won, but not enough to retire. And then the PTC, all accounts that the PTC has heard and was also discussed at the meeting last night, that the virtual back-to-school night last week was also a success. The next PTC meeting is November 8th, and during the meeting, Mr. Sanford introduced staff, directors and supervisors, new staff, talked about upcoming Star Storm assessments, PSATs, and it was a good first meeting.
Thank you, Michelle. The MTAA, they're the only group that we don't have a contract with for the current year. We're waiting for the field service rep, I guess, to get back to us with a meeting date. Public participation is an opportunity for anybody that has any comments on agenda items. This is your opportunity to ask them. Do we have any comments on questions regarding the agenda items? All right, I would entertain a motion then for items I through N, I believe.
So moved.
Okay. Any questions on the minutes, grants, facilities, personnel, curriculum instruction, and we do have some policies under letter N. Okay, roll call please, Mrs. Swanson.
Ms. Eckerman?
Yes.
Mr. Rappaport?
Abstain on I minutes for 9/27. Abstain on A6. Yes, everything else.
Dr. Cordolino?
Yes.
Mr. Daughtry?
Yes.
Mrs. Fano? Yes. Dr. Modrak?
Abstain on I minutes for August 17, and yes, everything else.
Mr. O'Brien?
Aye.
Mr. Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Grau?
Yes. There's no need for a closed work session this evening. Section Q, any old business? Section R, general board comment and new business? Section S, this is an opportunity for the public to speak to the board for your comments regarding any items at this time. Please feel free to come forward to the podium and give us your name and address if you like, at least your name though.
Good evening, my name is Kate Triana. I live at 84 River Road. As of yesterday, according to the New Jersey Department of Health, the number of COVID deaths in all of New Jersey for children ages 5 to 7 is 3, a number that has not changed in months, contrary to all the fear-mongering from our governor about the impact of the Delta variant on children. And the case and death rates for Montville specifically are no longer even being reported on by the Department of Health because it's less than 10 people. Children can literally go almost anywhere with no risk or restrictions beyond what their parents deem appropriate. Meanwhile, in schools, children continue to struggle with wearing masks all day that negatively impact their health and ability to learn and socialize. According to the New Jersey School Board Association, the primary role of the Board of Education members is to represent the community and ensure the best education affordable for the students. Continuing to enforce an unjustifiable mandate is not the desire of this community or in the best interest of our children's education. This board cares more about protecting themselves than protecting our children. So yet again, I'm here to ask you to do everything in your power to stand up to and even possibly defy these mandates. Write an open letter to Murphy, again, asking him to end his executive orders. Help parents of children who need exemptions to get them approved. Remove the measures you added, such as plastic barriers and physician review that are not required by the executive orders and only further take away from our children's school experience. Here's your chance to prove that you listen to your community and care about our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Trainer, for your comments. The last meeting when you spoke that we have to follow the guidelines, that's what we've been told, but I appreciate your comments. Yes, ma'am. Name?
Melissa Jones.
I can't hear you.
Melissa Jones, 5 Arthur Place. I wasn't going to come tonight because every time I try to reach out to one of you guys, you do nothing about it anyway. There's still a Black Lives Matter fist hanging in a classroom, but hey, we'll just leave it there, right? My main issue today is my son came home from school, we're eating dinner, and he tells me that it took 25 minutes for him to use the bathroom at school. Then he goes to tell me that both times he was in the bathroom, Mr. Prosciutto watched him, stared him down as he used the toilet. Now, Dr. Robitaille, you just said that nobody was in these bathrooms, so you're just letting everybody know that to make them feel more comfortable? Because my son came home and told me that both times he stared him down using the bathroom. My friend's daughter didn't even get to use the bathroom. She was turned away, okay? This is an issue more than you're vandalizing the bathrooms. My son doesn't have any apps on his phone. He doesn't have TikTok. He's being punished because other kids are doing bad things. And now there is a man in the bathroom watching my child go. If I hear it again, I am going to press criminal charges against Mr. Prosciutto. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else?
Good evening. Robert Bain, Brook Valley Road. Use the mic, please. Robert Bain, Brook Valley Road. I'd like to request that the board look into dash cams for buses in the district. We haven't had a full week of school yet, and I've witnessed 2 cars drive past my child's school bus with the stop sign out. Once was on Jacksonville Road while the bus was
put that a little closer?
Once was on Jacksonville Road while the bus was stopped letting some kids out. The second time was in front of my driveway while my children were getting on the bus with my wife and I standing there in the morning. While I was unable to get a complete plate, that means that the police are able to do almost nothing. So I would request that the board look into dash cams for our buses.
Thank you.
I would just clarify that the district itself does not own any buses.
I understand.
We can certainly speak to the contractors, but
I understand you don't own buses. I understand that it goes out to contract. I understand that it may or may not be part of a co-op for the entire county. But as a paying customer, you could pressure said
In the meantime, you or your wife call the police and tell them what you're experiencing, and they might put a car there for a few days.
We have.
To do that.
Yep, I went to the police station. I was unable to get through to the police because I didn't feel like calling 911 and wasting someone's time. It wasn't an essential emergency. No one was hurt. There was no risk of life or limb. I was unable to get through to the dispatcher at 7:30 in the morning. I was unable to get through to a school administrator at 7:30 in the morning for obvious reasons. And when I walked into the police station, they said without a plate, they can't do much. So dash cam seems to be a logical solution. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, if there's no other comments, I I would entertain a motion to adjourn at this point.
So moved.
Moved by O'Brien, seconded by Modrak. All in favor? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.